Kirk and the Squares. And Kirk is doing wonderful things down in Chatham County, and we're going to hear all about those coming up with his venture Big Fish, Small Pond music. But Kirk, you've been here before accompanying Daniel Ayers, and you know we just like to jump in and play a song, so if you'd be so kind.
Let's do that. When you left me, did you cry? When you left me, did you cry? Did your voice crack a little when you said goodbye? When you left me, did you cry? When you walked out the door, did it slam? When you walked out the door, did it slam? Was your new boy waiting to take you by the hand? When you walked out the door, did it slam? Tell me if that door is shut forever. Tell me if he ever makes you cry. Tell me if you ever long for what was left behind. Tell me if I get one more try, one more try. Was your suitcase heavy on your arm? Was your suitcase heavy on your arm? Was it packed with all the joy and all the dreams, but not the harm? Was your suitcase heavy on your arm? Did you glance in the mirror as you pulled away? Did you see me in the taillight and still just drive away? Did you think for a second you were headed the wrong way? Did you glance in the mirror as you pulled away? Look to me, the road ahead led nowhere. Tell me if that taillight glow did lie. Tell me if you ever longed for what was left behind. Tell me if I get one more try, one more try. I looked. I keep the porch light on most every night. Keep the porch light on most every night. Sends out a beacon that I have learned what's right. Sends you a message, I've given up the fight. It wrestles with the darkness, helps me sort what's black from white. I keep the porch light on most every night. Tell me if that door is shut forever. Tell me if you ever wonder why that grass looked greener, why the glitter caught your eye. Can't you give us one more try, one more try, one more try, one more try.
Nice way to start the show. Kirk Stirland live here on Pass the Hat.
So, Kirk, we understand that you have a new record coming out. Will this song be on it?
It will be. This is one of the more recent ones. It's a collection of some songs I wrote quite a while ago and have been playing quite a bit and been recording on for quite a bit, and some newer ones too. And this is one of the newer ones.
So how many tracks on this release? Do we know yet?
I'm not sure yet. We have, I have 6 done, a 7th in process, and there'll probably be another one added to that.
Nice.
So,
Have you decided on a studio to record at yet?
I've got a studio to record in. We're really, really proud of the room we built in a little log cabin out in Chatham County. It was on the property when we bought it, and we restored the place and kept it as original as we possibly could.
Nice.
The studio portion of it is in the cabin part, which was an 1865 log cabin.
Wow.
Thereabouts. In 1950, they moved a house that was built somewhere else in 1900 and bolted it onto that cabin,
Right.
and then wrapped the cabin in stone. So it was just
Whoa.
custom made for this, exactly what we did with it.
Yeah.
I had to kind of convince my wife that was the right thing to do with it.
It's really the
It was
only
the
thing
right
to do.
thing to do.
I think so.
So
Yeah, we've recorded almost everything there. Some of it was done in my previous studio up north. But
And so you had a storied career elsewhere that we'll talk about after the next song, and we also want to talk about your history as a songwriter. But before we switch guitars, and we've brought 2 magnificent antique Gibsons here. So the one we just heard, tell us about that guitar.
yeah, that's that one climbed out of the woods down here in North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 1940 Gibson J35. Tony Williamson found this thing, and I just love it. The second I picked it up and strummed it, I said, well, got to go sell a car or something, because this is a good one.
And now this Gibson looks to be a triple-aught size or something along those lines.
This is a Gibson L1, a 1933 Gibson L1, which is a smaller body side, good eye.
And you can hear the difference.
Yeah, definitely. This is much better. These are real bluesy guitars. They were really inexpensive when they were sold, so they were seldom had hard cases, and so they all kind of got rode hard and put away wet, and they all kind of reflect that a little
Well,
bit.
let's hear that thing.
Yeah, yeah. So this song is. I lived in this little town up north, and in the springtime, that town would become just buried in lilacs. All up and down our street, all the public spaces, the little town dock and the park in the town, all had these big, beautiful lilac bushes.
Nice.
And even though we had them right in our yard, my wife insisted on late at night going out into the town and harvesting these lilac bushes. And I said, honey, we're going to get arrested. You're going to get arrested in here, and I'm going to be down there bailing you out for,
I think it's at most a misdemeanor, probably.
well, maybe. I don't know.
Public service.
So that kind of made us both laugh, and it's kind of part of our family folklore now for creeping around in the town, stealing lilac bushes. This is called Lilacs in the Dark. First a warm sun, not a moment too soon, and then the spring rains exploding the blooms. Innocent buds with an essence so sweet, bright purple flowers tempt a crime indiscreet, but beauty becomes the spark. She's no angel, she steals lilacs in the dark. From high on her porch at the end of the day, as the fireflies drift across the lawns as they play. She slips from her throne, just a thief on the run. No neighbor will see just what she has done. In backyards or in the park, she's no felon, she steals lilacs in the dark. Trouble, sweet trouble, don't you find her tonight? Don't turn your light up too soon. Trouble, sweet trouble, it's a natural right. Her hand reaches up for the bloom. There in the entry, in an antique vase, and next to her bed, through a curtain of gauze, her ill-gotten treasures fill the rooms full of scent. Clipped in the shadows, in the moonlight she went. Commando in the dark. She's no felon, but she steals lilacs in the dark. I don't know what's happening here, and I don't know if her mission is clear. I'm not sure if it's white, black, or gray, or even confronted what she might say. But be it pearl or bar, she's no angel, she steals lilacs in the dark. She's no angel, she steals lilacs in the dark. She's no angel, she steals lilacs in the dark.
She was rehoming them. We say that we're rehoming the things now.
I wonder what the statute of limitations is on grand theft lilac.
7 years.
Kirk, when you write songs, it's interesting, the couple of songs that we've heard this evening, they're somewhat inside songs, but they seem more influenced by things outside of you. And was wondering, where do your songs originate? How does that process start for you?
That's a really great question, Kim. They kind of start with the music, interestingly. They, not like many singer-songwriters, I think. I sort of find little licks and the musical part of it, and then I'll have some sort of a notion that I want to write to, and then I'll kind of find the story. I have two things in my phone. One is that little memo app. I record these little licks and stuff.
Isn't it the best?
Right? So that's where I put the music. And then as far as the song ideas in the other little app that's in your phone, I write when I have an idea comes to me about a notion for a song, I write it down, even if it's a single lyric or
right.
A big idea or even a small idea, a silly idea. I write it down, and then when I start putting those two things together, I kind of refer to my notes.
It's interesting, your lyrics. I was listening carefully to the songs we've heard so far, and your lyrics are very singable. Sometimes we have songwriters who are writing in metaphor, and you have to really look between the lines to see what you're getting at. Your songs are right there for us, and they're very accessible to sing. And Gabriella was just making a comment, what a great storyteller you are.
Exactly.
And I would agree with that, because your stories, you give us these lovely stories that and the beat hits right. You can tell you're a very musical sort. Does the type of language that you want to share, does that influence how you tell your stories also?
Can I stay the night here? I mean, do we extend this?
Kim is good at this.
Wow, I'll say.
I think Gabriella would stay up all night. It's probably almost midnight there in England.
It
but
is all night over there already.
she's a big fan. We appreciate it. Gabriella, hey, shout out.
Shout out, absolutely. Thank you for the comment. Look, I'm a B- student, and I write from that. You know, I mean, when I see and hear people like Libby Rodenbaugh, I always tell her, I said, you are so adventurous. You'll go anywhere with a song or a lyric.
Yeah.
And I so respect that in songwriters. But it's just not where I can find myself to go. Daniel Ayers is kind of like that. He can really piece together a story well, I think. But he will bring it more into the real world too, and
Yeah,
and will
he
make
does,
it
and
real
that's why
accessible, right?
that's why people pack rooms to see him,
Yeah.
because in every corner there's something for someone to catch when
Yeah.
he sings it. And I appreciate that about songs. I appreciate a song that I can carry down the sidewalk with me. And I've lived it, and I can speak to it, and I can speak to it to say my daughter and not have to break it down or understand or misunderstand it. I don't want to misunderstand a song. That's no fun.
Yeah.
So this is delightful.
Well, I got some spacey ones that that I won't be doing tonight, but they're maybe less or more obtuse.
Can we find those online somewhere?
Not yet. What I've done is I've taken a whole collection of songs that I'd written previously that I think are just not like these. So I'm going to just sort of Bandcamp them and
Absolutely.
put them up so people can kind of sample them. But this collection, there's kind of a center of it, and I want to have it be built around that.
Well, yeah, I think most people make music because they want the music to be heard, and getting it up on Bandcamp is how
Yeah.
you get the music heard.
Yeah.
That's my intent. Yeah, that's my intent.
Everybody, we are here enjoying our time with Kirk Stirland, and you can find out all about Kirk and his various adventures, bigfishsmallpondmusic.com. And we're excited, Kirk, to see where you're going to take us next.
So, this one has a little bit of a story to it. Back long before the era of music videos, there was a time when they didn't make music videos. Can you believe that?
What?
So I was involved in an audio-visual project that I have this kind of passion about truck driving. I think it comes from that Dave Dudley song, 6 Days on the Road. I think that's where it started. I thought, wow, these guys, they're the modern kings, you know. These guys, they live this free life. They don't have any bosses. They sit on top of these big, powerful machines, and they're in a different town every night. And wow, that must be an amazing life.
10-4, Big Ben.
Wow. I thought, man, that's cool. So I was involved in an audiovisual project, and it needed a song. And I thought, well, if we're going to do this audiovisual project, I need to understand what it's like to be a truck driver more. So I went out and learned. I actually got in a truck. I had the experience and talked to some of these guys. I went to a truck stop in Wendover, Nevada, right on the
my
border of
gosh.
Utah and Nevada. And
You got
talked
to
these-
hit the tire with a baseball bat.
Bonk, bonk.
I mean, and what the truth was, it was not nearly as romantic and fabulous as I made it up to be. These guys worked really
Oh,
hard.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long hours.
Long hours, didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Really terrible family lives. So many of them had just real struggles with relationships and their children and so then fast forward to the last few years where we've got container ships lined up to dump all of their containers in Long Beach, and they can't get them off the ships fast enough. And when they do get them off, they can't find trucks to haul them to the distribution centers, and then they can't find trucks to haul them out to us or to Amazon and then to us, right?
Eventually they get to us.
Well, I guess they do, but they can't find guys to drive the trucks because it's just not a great job.
Because they don't pay enough.
Absolutely, and there's all kinds of complications.
Yeah.
John Oliver did an amazing piece on this. It was really terrific. So there was that. That made me kind of readdress this song. Now here's the kind of sidelight story on this. Way back when after I did that video project that this song was involved in, the song I entered the song in the American Songwriters Festival back then, and it won something. And so it got a little attention, and a guy named Yvonne Alexander, who is a protege of Merle Haggard's,
picked up the song, recorded it in Nashville. So he cut it in half, basically, you know, and he released it. And it actually got on the Billboard country charts. Woo-hoo! So it got to 89 with a bullet. I say it got to 89 with an anchor because it fell right off the chart. It was there.
Yeah, but it was still there.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I thought the song needed to be readdressed with a modern nod to what's going on out there. So I didn't really change the song much. It's going to be on the new album, but it's been rearranged and touched up a bit. So anyway, this is called Midnight Cabaret. Calloused hands gripped around a wheel worn and true. Gauges swing, radio sings, tires whine and tune. Wide line fever rides right next door, devil just waiting his cue. Wrinkled lines tell the story of a man, his wife, and a little boy too. Letters on the door show days in the sun, they're cracked and burning still. Smoke from the stack turns the whole world black, and that engine just about to kill. Eyes getting heavy, he been rolling too long on the magic in a cross-white pill. He didn't sleep at all last night, now he can't hardly hold still. 40 years riding down the same damn road, hauling eastward from L.A. to San Antone. One busted headlight, 10 years of grief and shame. Leather gloves, roadside dreams, midnight cabaret. Losing sight of the road at night tends to make a man feel sick. Gearbox song is making him think that second just about to quit. Lighting up on this leaden foot, on this blacktop to the sky. Hauling into Tucson, choking down a beer, stopping for a piece of pie. What do you say to a woman who say, I'm deserting your bygone ship? Let her on the back door, blowing in the wind, say the ice has begun to drip. Calico scraps and a little whiskey rag, dancing with the broomstick girl. When the moon rises high in a midnight sky, you can bet his head will whirl. 40 years riding down the same damn road, hauling eastward from L.A. to San Antone. One busted headlight, 10 years of grief and shame. Leather gloves, roadside dreams, midnight cabaret. Midnight cabaret. Oh, he just can't stay. He seemed to lost his way, but he just can't see to stay.
I could hear Merle Haggard in that song. Mm-hmm. I can see why his protege picked that up, because there's definitely some Merle in that song.
Yeah, but he had the background singers. And,
Bob, how'd you like the low E string of that dreadnought?
No,
I know, it's nice, wasn't it? So, Kirk, we alluded to earlier that you had a career before you came down here to the Promised Land with an organization called Westwood One. And so this is not your first time or second time in the studio.
No, it's not. I was the head of programming for Westwood One, all the music programming. Westwood One's a big syndicator, and they do all the NFL football games. They do a huge amount of sports play-by-play. They do talk shows. They do all manners of things. Most of my responsibility was in the music programming, and so we built shows and radio formats, and we owned TM Studios, which was in Dallas, a big jingle house. So we made jingles and imaging and stuff for radio stations to sloganize their radio stations. We did prep services for morning shows so they could be more entertaining. So we did a lot of different things in exchange for barter. And those commercials on those radio stations we then sold, and that's how we financed it. And I did that for the biggest part of my career, actually.
People don't think much about all the different aspects of the business, such as the whole industry devoted to writing jingles. Last night, my wife and I watched this show about Broadway shows, but they weren't Broadway. They were industrial shows. So all the big companies like John Deere and would have in the summertime get all their sales staff there from all around the country and these industrial shows were financed, full-blown music and orchestra, financed way bigger than a Broadway show. So just fascinating, all the different aspects of
big lavish shows
of the industry. And as you were prepared to move into a new chapter of your life, what brought you down here?
Well, it was sort of like I stopped doing that, and because I had the opportunity to stop doing that. And
congratulations.
Yeah, it feels great too, by the way. And my kids, my daughter went to UNC and my son to Elon.
Okay, great.
So we were kind of down here for 7 years, a lot, and I just fell in love with it here. Who wouldn't? What musician wouldn't? I mean, music is such in the soul of people here, and
absolutely.
The weather's great, and the food's great, and the people are wonderful, and we have these big universities around us, so there's lots of smart people, and there's good culture, and it's just an ideal place to live. Except in July and August. I'm having a real problem with July and August.
Talk that up, because the way you were talking before, you were inviting more people to come here, and we need to tamp that down just a little bit.
Don't come.
Tell them how bad July and August are.
Yeah, July and August is really terrible.
Well, you have really embraced our music community, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, because you have some exciting things going on at Big Fish Small Pond Music. But first, we switched guitars again.
Yes, we did.
And so we have the more tinkly sounding guitar instead of the booming sounding.
It's tinkly but so warm.
Oh no, it's wonderful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, this guitar, it gives me goosebumps sometimes. I'm just so fortunate to have it. So this song, I love to tell this story. I hate Las Vegas.
Thank you.
We were just having this conversation.
I'm so glad you say that, because everybody wants to take exception.
So gross.
But the shows and the food, and you get all the great restaurants in there. It isn't just Disneyland for adults. There's things for whole families to do things in it. I think it sucks. It's a great big bright town in the middle of an alkaline desert. As soon as you get to the airport, you walk off the plane, and what are you greeted by? Rows of slot machines in the airport. You can bet on anything in Las Vegas. You can bet on presidential elections, frighteningly, sports contests. You can bet on anything. It's always just been a playland for lascivious activities, it seems.
Woo!
Even though...
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Sit down, Bob.
Even though, there's a reason that phrase, what do they say, if it happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas?
Yes.
Is that the line? Anyway, I'm not a member of the Chamber of Commerce, obviously, of Las Vegas. So I was going through my diatribe about that with a friend of mine who's a psychologist, a hypnotist. She's a clinical.
Same thing.
Yeah, she's a clinical hypnotist.
They're all doing the Lord's work.
So she's really doing wonderful work. She and her colleagues are, they hypnotize people that have trouble going to the dentist, or maybe have addiction problems, or one thing or the other. They're applying hypnotism in really medical ways. And she says, Kirk, I'm going to Vegas next week. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. She said, I'm going to a conference. And I said, there are a lot of conferences in Vegas. I said, you're going to a conference of hypnotists in Las Vegas? I said, I think everybody's hypnotized in Las Vegas. So she's there right now, actually. I wrote this song a year or so ago, but she's there now. She's presenting at it. It's called Hypno Thoughts Live. It's like
Fun.
200 hypnotists in Las Vegas at a conference. So anyway,
If they all go under, who brings them out?
a very good question. Maybe they don't.
Share thoughts.
Wayne, what's Wayne's name?
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton, yes.
Is he still around with us?
Oh, he is, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
He's
All
being
right.
held together with tape.
So here's a song called Hypnotists in Vegas. A desert town, dry and forbidding, even in the glare. A lonely town, never forgiving, no emotion spared. A shining object swings before you, some chips get dropped on green. She snaps her fingers and light restores you, it wasn't just a dream. Hypnotists in Vegas, a meeting of the minds. Maybe they can save us just in time. Hypnotists in Vegas, the blind lead the blind. Maybe they can save us. Another roll of quarters, and I'll quit my job today. He'll never win Ohio, he'll never make that play. She's gonna roll a 7, I bet it turns out right. One more drink, bartender, then I can play all night. Hypnotists in Vegas, a meeting of the minds. Maybe they can save us just in time. Hypnotists in Vegas, the blind lead the blind. Maybe they can save us. Security staff, get off your ass, you need some muscle quick. Down on the floor, get them out the door, they're making our customers sick. Look away from the pendant sway, get them out of this house. Hand them a bunch of 2-for-1s, free drinks until they're south. Hypnotized by culture, hypnotized by dope, hypnotized by campaigns, hypnotized by hope. They line up at the airport, before the starting gun. A city that needs saving beneath the burning sun. Hypnotists in Vegas, a meeting of the mind. Maybe they can save us just in time. Hypnotists in Vegas, the blind lead the blind. Maybe they can save us.
You are getting very sleepy.
Everybody, this is WHUP LP Hillsborough, and we are turning to a second hour of the show. Really enjoying our time here with Kirk Stirland, and we are so fortunate to have a sponsor for hour two, Bob.
Yes, we are, dear listener. We are super stoked to have a sponsor for the second hour of the show, and our spokesmodel is just getting wound up. Their support for Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthew's Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsborough, North Carolina, the finest handcrafted, artistically created chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. If you have chocolate needs, and you know you have chocolate needs,
Yeah,
check out Matthew's Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street. And Matthew, you can see Kirk is modeling the bar that every one of our guests gets here on Pass. They had a 1-pound custom-made chocolate bar so fresh that Matthew delivered it here by himself just moments ago, hot off the presses, and we don't even know what's in it. You can read the label on the back, Kirk.
Well, I'll tell you what's in it.
All right.
It has dark chocolate. It's like this guy knew me,
Right?
you know? Dark chocolate, sesame croquant.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say that?
That's how you say it.
Okay, good. And Chinese 5-spice. This is not going to make it home. I'm telling you right now, this is not going to make it home.
That
Chinese
is
5-spice.
fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
Matthew makes good stuff. And in addition to chocolate and chocolate accessories, although I guess it could be a chocolate accessory, he has a fantastic array of sorbets over there. In fact, if you walk through town and the guy selling food off the back of the truck is selling cantaloupe,
Yeah.
you know the next day Matthew is going to have cantaloupe sorbet, and it's going to be good. So check out the sorbet, because it is like 4 billion degrees outside, and a little sorbet will give you some brain freeze on a hot summer evening, and you're going to be happy.
So, Kirk Stirland, thank you so much for coming this evening, and tell us a little bit about this exciting venture, Big Fish Small Pond Music.
So we built this studio, and with the help of my amazing son-in-law, Eric Ronick. Interestingly, Eric works for a Universal Music-owned company that makes commercial music. You were talking about how music is in our lives in ways we don't even really recognize it. You have undoubtedly heard Eric's music somewhere, because he's had music that's underneath Super Bowl spots, and I mean, he makes the music and sounds that go underneath television commercials, largely. Other things too, movies and trailers and things like that.
Without that music, you'd never buy a thing. I mean,
No.
the music really brings that stuff to life.
It's the most convincing part of it, right? That's how we like to think it, anyway. Anyway, Eric helped me build my studio originally in New England, and then when we moved down here, he helped me install it here, largely because he could use it too. He's here often enough, and he works in there too. So my notion was, after I got down here and started meeting the musicians and such, and you know, it all starts with Jerry Brown. Everything musically starts with Jerry Brown.
It all starts at the Rubber Room.
Jerry introduced me to Chatham Rabbits, so Sarah and Austin McCombie became my friends, and that led me to their band members, Alan Baronsky, who many of you know from playing.
He wanted to be here tonight with you in the studio, and we told him we're not quite opening the studio to guests yet, so he is watching live right now. I guarantee.
Oh, awesome. He's such an amazing guy. And the whole Chatham Rabbit band, actually. Gabe Anderson, who's the drummer, and Saman Kajunian. And Saman is actually mixing my album as we speak.
I saw a picture you posted, and you said something about magic ears.
He is just an amazing musician, and a mixer and everything else. So anyway, after getting connected through that whole group, I tip my hat to Chatham Rabbits, to Sarah and Austin, because they connected me to all these wonderful people, and it's now extended on to Sleepy Cat Records, which is Gabe and Saman's record label, and all of their artists, and we've had many of them in my studio and such. And I thought, as I saw how hard they are working to make a living at playing music, all of them, it occurred to me, what can I do to help them make that living? I mean, they all work very hard on things that don't have a whole lot to do with writing songs and singing songs in front of people. Maybe there's a way that I could do some of those things for them. Maybe I could open my studio to young artists to record demos and to get their songs realized. Maybe I started as part of that venture, I set up a music publishing company. So I'm helping artists like Daniel get his music published. All the way through the recording of it to now the distribution of it, because we've distributed Daniel's. I have another artist named Stevens Witt, who's really terrific. He co-writes many of the songs. I'll be talking about him in a minute on one of these songs.
Yeah, we need to know more about Stephen.
Yeah, he's terrific. And I'm going to play you one of his songs that he and I co-wrote too, from his new album that's on Big Fish, Small Pond Music. So anyway, that was the idea, was how could we contribute? There's lots of ways to support the arts. And that's the way my wife and I chose to do it, was that way.
And you just highlighted something about this area, which may be true of musicians everywhere, but it seems hyper true of musicians here in the Piedmont or North Carolina, is that when you were setting up shop, it would have been easy to imagine folks coming up to your door and say, hey, it's a nice recording studio. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. In sort of why are you bringing competition to us kind of a way. But it's not like that at all. It's hyper collaborative. As soon as people hear that you have something interesting going on, they're coming by and saying, hey, let's collaborate. Let's do some stuff together. And your whole reason for opening up the studio to other musicians is just another piece of that wonderful puzzle of the collaborative nature of music in this area. And we're super lucky to have you, and super lucky to live in this area.
Yeah, we really are. It's a real, that word family gets overused, but there really is a musical family here. And
Yes,
family members treat each other rightfully, right? I mean, Chatham Rabbits have kind of a notion of do good. Just be good.
Right.
Just be good people. And so that's what we're doing with it. It doesn't have to be a big, high dollar venture. Big Fish, Small Pond Music. I want it to be a creative place. And so Joseph Terrell needs a place to kind of have an afternoon to work with his Mipso bandmates. They just wanted to sit in the studio and kind of have a place to rehearse. So I said, of course.
These small acts of kindness, they build up.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex Bingham has brought a couple artists in, done pre-production. Same kind of deal. We're trying to be open and supportive of music, and occasionally there's a little fee associated with it, but all of that goes right back into the studio and back into the operation. So
we do live in a capitalist society. These things have to happen sometimes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
everybody stay in touch with all the activities out there by going to bigfishsmallpondmusic.com. And Kirk, we're here to hear your fine music, and so what do you have for us next?
Thank you. So as I've been aging, I've been kind of thinking about that process a lot, like anybody in my age.
Why?
My age. We think a lot about, geez, what is this this growing up thing? Wow. My father-in-law says, getting old isn't for sissies.
Amen.
And it's true. And the conclusion I've come to, particularly after watching my father age, was maybe the medical world can keep our bodies going farther than our minds can really support
That is
it.
sometimes the case.
I saw it referenced in the New York Times last week in an article where the writer said, it's a matter of quality versus quantity. And quality, that argument works for me. Living a really good life and while I can, and then when I can't, not. And but at any rate, that this song came from the aging of my father, really, and kind of captures all of that. I think it's called "Don't Leave Slowly." The clock moves slow, delays when you go. Can you stay longer if you try? One step, then two, move along like you do. You tell me the reason why. No, I can't buy that. Things are done, it goes like that. It just gets closer every day. Final page, last refrain. If you're walking like a zombie in the pouring rain, don't leave slowly. Don't leave slowly. Don't leave slowly when you go. Sunset at the end of the day. Walls hear every word he say. Shadows slowly turn from gray to blue. But each word comes from a place that time alone can't seem to erase. It's like a movie that's never through. No, I can't buy that. Things are done, it goes like that. The end goes closer every day. Final page, last refrain. If you're walking like a zombie in the pouring rain, don't leave slowly. Don't leave slowly. Don't leave slowly when you go. Things are done, it goes like that. The end grows closer every day. Final page, last refrain. If you're walking like a zombie in the pouring rain, don't leave slowly. Don't leave slowly. Don't leave slowly when you go. So ends the comic relief section of tonight's program.
Really good song.
Thank you.
That is,
Excellent.
it almost seems like an answer to the Dylan Thomas poem, "Do Not Go Gently
Into the Night.
Into the Night." It's an interesting answer to that.
Boy, I wish that's where it was born. It would suggest that I actually am literary.
I think that yours is a gentler alternative, that we don't all have to go kicking and screaming.
No.
Yeah.
Or making a scene.
Sliding in the home base, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to handle
Kirk,
that. It's really complicated, but it's lots of ways to do it.
I've noticed as you switch guitars, on this one you finger pick, and on the other one you use a pick. And I was noticing on the previous song, not the one previous, but two previous, that your finger picking is immaculate.
Whoa.
It's
Wow.
on point.
Really quite
You guys,
good.
man, you know how to make a guy feel pretty good. I tell you, thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
So, when did you start playing guitar? When did you pick this up? What was your motivation for doing what you're doing now?
Fun. So I learned how to play guitar watching this woman on the public television station in San Francisco, California, when I was a little boy growing up in Northern California. And she taught basic folk chords, right? So I played with I just kind of figured out watching television.
Nice. So it's like Bob Ross for guitars.
Yeah, it was. Basically Bob Ross for guitars. I forget her name. She was really wonderful, though, and you learned all those famous folk songs, right? The basic folk songs. So anyway, fast forward up to high school, and the Haight-Ashbury and all that happened in San Francisco in that era, and boy, I went right along with that.
Of course.
That whole thing, and then learned rock and roll and played, but never with any training. And then I became with Stephen Zwitt actually in college, and I started to play together, and he's an excellent fingerstyle player, and I fake it, or I did fake it. Back then I used to just fake fingerstyle guitar, and so then fast forward to like the mid 90s, and I decided I was going to learn how to play fingerstyle guitar properly. And I hooked up with a guy named Ed Wright, who's an amazing fingerstyle guitar player. Go find some of his music and listen to it. It's amazing. He and I still take lessons with him. I've taken lessons with him forever, and in person for a long time up in New England, and now on Zoom we do lessons together.
Nice.
And we play a lot of down tuning things, dadgad, and Irish music and things like that. But he made me just kind of unlearn everything I taught myself about fingerstyle.
Break you down and build you back up.
And relearn it. And that's how I became a fingerstyle player. So
Well, it's working.
Thank you.
All that hard work paying off.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. So, this next song is How I Deal with My Troubles. Are we still doing all right with when you talk to your kids?
Mostly?
So, are the songs still making sense? Are they still accessible? I hope so.
Oh, yes. I thought if you were asking if it was family friendly. Oh, you're good.
Good. So, this is how I deal with my troubles. I found that I can deal with troubles like most people. I can deal with troubles as they come at me one at a time, but it's when they pile up is when they become really hard for me to deal with. And I don't think that's uncommon. Most people are kind of like that, right? So I was sitting on my porch out in Chatham County, and there was one of those line storms kind of formed off on the horizon. And it started off with a little bit of wind, and the trees started to sway, and then all of a sudden there was lightning, and then there was thunder. Maybe it was thunder then lightning. And then the clouds opened up and the rain poured down, and it was this torrid storm that went through. And I thought, boy, that's just like that's the same thing that happens to me when, like a little bit of rain I can take. But boy, when it's all those other things combined with it, that's when it becomes a real problem for me, and most people, I think. By the way, I went out across Chicken Bridge and took a drive out on the other side of the county after that storm, and God, there were fences knocked down and trees knocked over and cars in the ditch, and it was quite a mess. And I said, that's like what happens to me right there, Excuse me. So anyway, I wrote this song about that. Let's do that again. Storm blew across the county from Highway 64, scattered the birds, tore up trees by the score. Most terrible thing in 100 years or more, so the story goes. Troubles come upon me in much the same way. Piling up woe blocked the sun from the day. Like granite and dirt on my shoulders they weigh. So my story goes. You can't drown in shallow water. You can't drown in shallow water. You can't drown in shallow water. But man, oh man, oh man, when you pours. First it's the wind that tosses the sky. Down strikes the lightning shot from God's eye. Then buckets of rain and the heavens do cry. It's just how nature goes. My blues start as reds and anger inside. Troubles roll in, I'm swept up in the tide. Then soon enough, there's no place to hide. For me, that's how it goes. Can't drown in shallow water. You can't drown in shallow water. You can't drown in shallow water. But man, oh man, oh man, when it pours. My blues start as reds. I'm sorry. I could deal with the troubles when they're one at a time. Write my life's lyrics and make the words rhyme. But to swim in the torrent, I need a lifeline. When it pours and it pours and it pours. You can't drown in shallow water. You can't drown in shallow water. You can't drown in shallow water. But man, oh man, oh man, man, oh man, oh man, man, oh man, oh man, when it pours.
I like that song.
Very nice. Kirk, will that one be on the new release also?
That will be on the new release, yeah.
So tell us about the timeline of this, because we're excited to see
We're
what's
running
coming
really
in the
short
future.
on time.
But we are really short on time, and that's why. Do we have time for another song, or should I segue into what's next?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kirk. We got about a minute and a half to the bottom of the hour, but it's the Kirk Stirland Show. He can do whatever he wants to. If you want to just end there and we can move into the playlist, or if you wanted to close out, if you had a song you wanted to close out with.
I'd love to do one more song if I may.
I thought
Absolutely.
you might.
And then we can go to the playlist, right?
Yep.
And we'll play some of my friends' music.
Yes.
And some of which was recorded in my studio, which is I'm particularly proud of.
That's got to be kind of exciting.
Yeah, it is. So this song is about, I have a friend who has a big house, and she takes renters, and one of those renters is her brother. And this whole sibling thing, I'm an only child, I don't know about that stuff, but she says, yeah, he's kind of an odd bird. He's always been that way. He's a really interesting guy. He's very intelligent. He's an artist. He's a jazz guitar player, so he can play jazz guitar beautifully. And
Fun.
But he just kind of comes and goes at odd hours, and she works odd hours too. She never sees him. Their total relationship is kind of his rent check on the dinner table every night.
Sounds
So,
like a perfect thing.
Right?
So she says, yeah,
Great
she says,
relationship.
he's kind of my secret lodger. And that whole that
That's a
was,
song right
there's
there,
a
right?
song in there, right? So that's what this song is called. It's called Secret Lodger. Do not hear the footsteps fall. I would swear there's no one here at all. But I know there's a heartbeat down the hall, silent as his shadow on the wall. There's one in every family, so they say. One who cannot see the light of day. One who cannot sing the other song. One who finds it hard to get along. There is a presence in my house beside the sea. Secret Lodger is its name. Seeps right through the walls like it's a part of me. Secret Lodger's not to blame. I wish I could unlock Phantom's tomb, have him walk the world outside his room. He hides in here, outside the monster's loom, as if this house had a wooden room. There is a presence in my house beside the sea. Secret Lodger is its name. Seeps right through the walls like it's a part of me. Secret Lodger's not to blame. Cannot hear the footsteps fall. You say there's no one here at all, but there's a heartbeat down the hall, trapped inside a human wall. There is a presence in my house beside the sea. Secret Lodger is its name. Seeps right through the walls like it's a part of me. Secret Lodger's not to blame. He and I are just the same.
Well, dear listener, you have spent a wonderful hour listening to Kirk Stirland here on Pass the Hat. We're going to turn it over now to, Kirk Stirland.
DJ.
We're going to turn off the live stream. Y'all watching the live stream, the show doesn't end when the live stream ends. We are still broadcasting live on 104.7 and WHUPFM.org. So if you're watching the live stream, flip over there and you're going to hear... Well, you can hear us keep talking, and you're going to hear Kirk Stirland's playlist where he brings in stuff that's motivating him, stuff that's moving him, stuff that he's recorded in his studio, y'all. Good stuff. Say goodbye to the live stream as soon as I can figure out how to turn this thing off.